Hi, everybody. My name is Tim Bradrick, and this is my code discussion for my multiplayer game. First off, I wanted to explain that I learned how to include the multiplayer in Unity from this website, paladinstudios.com, and I'm using what's called the Photon Unity networking asset that I downloaded from the Unity Asset Store. It's very basic and straightforward. What you need to do for Unity is you can create the scene however you like, but the main feature here is that you have one object for scripts, and you're going to create something called the network manager, and then you also have another object for the player. And let's see if I can move over here to the inspector, and you're basically creating these different objects inside of there, and photon view is what the assets explain that you need to create in the project, and that creates an instance of the player inside of the scene, and then the photon features can reference that player object inside of the various code. Okay, the network manager script is listed right here. It's a very straightforward and short script. You notice that there is a new qualifier on the mono behavior type class, and that allows us to do some specific things that draw from the Photon Unity networking API and so forth, and all those additional things that you need to include. The main feature right here that was described on the website is right here. We are first connecting to the Photon network, and I had earlier gone and signed up for an account, and I put in the information about my account into the inspector in Unity, and it's using that information to try to make a connection. And if it's not connected, it gives a message about why it's not. And then if it is able to connect, it attempts to create a room, and that's what this section right here is. You remember seeing the start button on my app on my device, and on the second device, the room has already been created, so it sees this button right here, and it is able to connect with that. So that's how it's coordinating two different devices linking into the same room. And then it goes and creates an instance for the player to attach the different activities onto it, and that's what it is on joined room. And it allows you to go and attach different activities to it. Here is the main GUI that I had established for the project. I set up some standard button sizes and text spaces and so forth, all based on the screen width and the screen height and so forth, and some very basic variables to keep track of what the number is being guessed and so forth. I initialize in the start menu, and then each iteration, frame rate iteration, there's an update, and it basically is the GUI is updated on each frame, and the different boxes that you see on the screen are established here. The main feature here is that each button, there are 10 buttons, 1 through 10 of course, and it checks to see if a number has been selected, and I assigned false to all the numbers in the start menu. And if that number has not been selected, it displays the button. And then if that button is clicked, it assigns some values. It selects that the most recent guess, the last guess, is that number that's been selected. and then whether a new guess has been chosen recently, and then it assigns the value of true, so that button is no longer displayed. And that's repeated for each of the numbers, and just all the way down to number 10 down at the bottom. And then the networking features are under the player script. The main feature here is, again, it is a photon monobehavior type class. And right here, if there is a recent guess to be made, it's going to send game info, and I'll show you what that is in a moment. And it's sending two pieces of information. It sends the number that's the goal and the number that was most recently guessed. The number that is the goal was chosen when somebody clicked on the server button. That was immediately chosen randomly from a range of 1 to 10. So that number is sent as well as the most recent guess. And then down here is the multiplayer networking function. It is an RPC type of function. That means remote procedure call. And what it does is it, first off, when a guess has been made, it sends a message to the text box, and based on whether that number is high or low or on target, and then it takes the two numbers, the goal and the guess, and it sends it through this unique function over the network, and it calls this function on the other device. It sends the function name. You see that is the same as here. It sends the targets, that's the other device that's on the network, and then it sends that same piece of information, and that other device goes and processes that information as well. Thanks for watching.